What do you do with an angel found wounded on a battlefield? Do you restore it to health simply out of love for the beauty and goodness of the angel? Or do you exploit the opportunity and use that angel like a jukebox to play on your every worst desire? We're going to explore that very question in this smash review of Angel Down by Daniel Kraus. A smash review is when I buy a novel on the date of its publication, read it back and forth, up and down, until it has been the chief occupant of my mind for a number of hours or days, and then I get it all out on video for you as soon as possible. The goal of this channel is to steer you to your next excellent read or steer you away from wasting your time and money on something that you probably shouldn't read or won't interest you. Life is short and it's better spent on good art, right? So, Angel Down was published only 2 days ago on July 29th, 2025. It's 304 pages long. And the best part is that I'm rating it 4.25 stars out of 5 stars. I think this is a book you should read. So let's get into the basic outline of the story while putting emphasis on its major themes without spoiling the novel for you. Daniel Kraus gives us an excellent novel which tells the tale of 5 World War I soldiers at a battlefield in France who were ordered to retrieve a soldier abandoned in no man's land between the German and American lines. Ostensibly, the mission is to either retrieve or kill that soldier. Either way, the persistent screaming has to come to an end. However, when the main character, Private Cyril Bagger, belly crawls to the soldier, he finds that it really isn't a soldier at all. It's an angel. Bagger intuitively knows this simply by being in the presence of the angel. Its all-consuming good emanates from the angel's light. What you should know is that Bagger is a terrible human. A man who tried to shirk being drafted in the first place, a man who carries with him on the battlefield not the implements of war, but marked cards, loaded dice, and other implements used to cheat his fellow soldiers. Bagger's stock in trade is not cash, though he has no aversion to that currency. It's the offer of a bet that when Bagger wins, by deceit, the losing soldiers take his place in the battle lines. His war aims are the cowardice of pushing others towards their death. Bagger intends to survive the battle at his relatively safe burial detail, while the swindled die in his place as they are ordered en masse out of the trenches and into German machine gun fire. Bagger's survival instinct is put to the test when he comes into the custody of what appears to be a wounded and helpless angel. Most of the other soldiers who, with Bagger, were tasked with finding the wounded soldier are given that detail because they are likewise unwanted and unscrupulous. One is, like Bagger, widely known as a swindler. Another has a propensity for violence, which even stands out amidst the horror of battle. In contrast, another is simply given this mission because he's black and the commanding officer can't stand the humiliation, quote unquote, of having a black man under his command. Jealousy, greed, violence, and paranoia take hold in the presence of the pure good emanating from the angel. And it leads for a captivating story that drives through the horror of war and the psyche of man. Krauss presents vividly the horror of war, a war where the yellow clay of the battlefield is embalmed in the blood, bones, tissue, and viscera of the dead, the tens of thousands of dead on that battlefield. Although I do not view the main theme of this novel to be about the horror of war, there is no escaping the setting. War and the nature of man's quest to survive war are presented in horrific detail. If it ended there, however, we would just have all quiet on the Western Front. That's not what this novel is. There's something more here. Krauss examines human nature beyond the context of war. The primary question raised by Krauss is this: what is it about mankind that exploits good for its own selfish pleasures or vices? If you are doubting whether this is a question that really needs to be asked, take for instance a man who vows lifelong love, but takes the good of his wife and uses that good solely for his own physical pleasure, thereby leaving but a hollow shell of the vow and the wife. Alternately, take for example a newborn innocent babe who is raised in an atmosphere of fear, anger, and abuse, all for the gratification of the wounded parent who should only have acted for that child's good. Regrettably, the question of how frail, selfish mankind exploits good is all too common to our condition, So I think it's appropriate that Krauss asks the question. Krauss presents the dichotomy between good and evil with the plot device of placing a pure good in possession of avaricious, greedy, and selfish men. Is it really possible that man can be converted by the presence of purest good away from his own selfish desires? What power does good really have in the presence of evil? Is that power weakened if the only constraint on the good is the free will of man? Is man more likely to make a choice for good if the consequences of the choice redound to the benefit of generations living after him? Or is selfishness just simply too powerful a draw for the average person? Is it the case for Bagger himself and the others in his ill-fated company? I'm not giving you the answers here because this is spoiler-free, and you'll have to read the story yourself. But as we step away from the themes of the story, I would be remiss if I didn't comment on the mechanics of the art itself. Krauss's depictions of war are stark, direct, and to the point. Flowery language and quaint descriptions of the French country you will not find here. That is the only suitable answer as to the narrative style. Krauss nails that. Be forewarned, however, that Krauss has written this novel in one 304-page long sentence. I believe the writing style is intended to build tension and grip the reader in one long, terrible thought, where there is no respite. And Krauss succeeds. Don't worry, however, your brain is going to insert periods in place of commas and so on and so forth. I didn't find the writing style distracting in the least bit, and actually I kind of enjoyed it. So I'm recommending this novel to you in large part because I highly doubt you've read anything like it before. And you deserve a new reading experience, a reading experience that will take you out of your comfort zone. I can only recommend that you let the art take you on a bit of a battlefield journey, where the true combatants are not necessarily the enemies at war, but perhaps man fighting against his own better angels. And for this reason, I recommend Angel Down by Daniel Kraus to you for your reading enjoyment. If you like this content, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. The more readers we have enjoying this content, the more exposure YouTube gives it to others. In a sense, it helps me to help you find better books. Enjoy your day, and God bless.